to the roller coasters of life. Today is a video that I wasn't even sure that I could record. I'm gonna talk about death. Man, crazy, right? Death is such a part of life that it's literally something that's innate. Like, it happens. You can't stop it. You can't control it. One of the worst seasons of my life involved death. I left a ministry called Time to Revive, and I decided that I felt like the Lord was calling me to create a video game. And I started talking to a buddy about it. His name was Spencer Minor. He actually was the lead singer of Scarlet White. He also did all of my ink. So I spent a lot of time with the dude in the tattoo chair, and spent a lot of time hearing stories about Scarlet White and stories about bands, and true colors about bands and some bands and how they really were. So, I spent a lot of time with the dude. He's a great guy. And then we kind of got to a season to where we weren't as talking as much. I got my Demon Hunter tattoo, and that was the tattoo that he always wanted to do. So I had him do it, and we really just loved his family. We loved him. And then I think it was July 28th. I think it's the day after my birthday. I don't remember even how many years ago it was. I started seeing online that he had passed away, and so I sent his wife a message, and she confirmed it. And that moment in my life is one of the craziest moments. I've never felt much like that. I literally just felt everything sink, and it felt like everything was done. And I was like, what? Just the shock and the burden of him being gone, and not being able to go get ink, and not being able to go spend time with him. There's moments in my life where I can define and explain the way I did things, but in these moments I didn't know. I built my life on thinking that everybody was invincible, apparently, because when he passed, it just shattered my world. I fell into depression. I fell into not knowing what to do next. I finished writing out the story for the video game, but didn't even touch it afterwards. I closed down the studio name, got rid of everything. I started questioning God. One of the biggest things and biggest portions in that season was that I questioned God so hard. I said, really, this guy, this great guy, just up and gone one day. Didn't know how to think about it, or what to do about it, or how to really respond to it. And it's crazy that in those moments, those are our worst moments, and God still accepts us even in those moments. One of the things that I really am so glad that I did was when I had those moments and I had those questions, I took them back to God. I could have definitely strayed away, and the only other, if I didn't go back to God, the only other path that I could have seen forward was I was very depressed in that season. I didn't see me making it in life much more if it wasn't for God. And thankfully, my wife, who is the biggest blessing in my life, had offered me a job to work with her. And it's something she never does. We'll never do it again because it's weird to work together. But she offered me a job, and I went and started working. And through that season, I kind of worked through that depression and worked through those questions. And, it's those seasons that are tough. And if I'm honest with you, some of y'all that are going to watch this video, y'all saw me in that season. Y'all didn't even know because I just shut down and didn't talk to anybody. And it's just crazy. But I'm thankful for everybody that was in my life in those moments. God placed everybody in my life in those moments for that season to help me grow. And toward the end of that job, I'd started asking the Lord, what's next? Where am I going next? The pandemic was happening, and, it's toward the end of the pandemic. And so, he told me to quit my job. And I quit my job, lost a bunch of weight. Obviously, if you've seen me, I've gained some of it back because, life's rough, and I didn't keep to my habits, but focusing on losing it again. So I lost the weight, went through life, I saw the spirals, I grabbed the spirals. Eventually, though, the grief that I had, I didn't do anything with it, and it just turned into anger. And the grief just started eating away at me later on. When you don't relieve your grief has nowhere to go. So then it just turns into anger. It turns into bitterness. And that's what I let it do. And I actually ended up seeking counseling for that. And, you know, I actually talked to a counselor about it and talked to some people about it. But yeah, so the encouragement from this video that I want to encourage you is grieve. Like, if you have like something that's happened, grieve. You know, last year, I would call him my best friend, Aaron, passed away suddenly on the 4th. I think that's when I got the call. Man, that was a rough day. I literally sat on my friend's steps and cried. You know, and through my life, I never really knew how to grieve, never knew what to do or how to do all that. And like, it's not one of those things where you can just do it. Like if you're never taught. So I cried on the steps, and then I held it in, and then I noticed that I was getting angry again. And what do? Like, I went and saw counseling and, you know, talked to my counselor and stuff like that. But I'm so thankful that our church had I don't remember what it's called. I literally just saw the flyer for it. It was like, empty chair service is what it's called. I cried the hardest and grieved the hardest I've ever grieved in my life during that night. I don't know if I've ever even thought about it or even thought about a service like that, but it was great. It was a good service to be a part of, and yeah. So my encouragement to you is grieve. If you have questions for God, don't be scared to ask him. Make sure to ask him, and make sure that you go back to God. Don't just let other people tell you these things, and don't let other people define you or your purpose or tell you the things that you need to do or how to do them. Just make sure that you're... So it's a little bit of a change of scenery. Decided to just switch over to this. I recorded this video that this is on the other day. I think it was Monday. So my son had come in and distracted me right toward the end of the video. Just figured I'd say that I'm going to make a part 2 to this video, because there's some things that happened in my life during those seasons, well, during that season specifically, that I did, and like I didn't catch it until the signs were too late. I mean, obviously it's like not that I did like anything drastic or anything crazy, but like, yeah. So I'm going to take the next video. We're going to do a part two of this, and we're going to sit and chat about it. So look for a part 2. And the other thing that I'll say is about this video is I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just offering friendly advice. And I pray for all of you who are going through a grieving process or a grieving process, and you know, you're dealing with grief, because it is tough. It's hard. So check out part 2. It's going to be coming up shortly after this video.